Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you everybody for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed the last episode, the 14th iteration of the shit show, episode 140. This is so fun. Those should be illegal, man. But back today with a brand new guest. And welcome to the podcast for the very first time, Mr. Todd Wolfson. How you doing, Todd?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on your show, man.
Absolutely. So you're joining me from From Pennsylvania?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the city of the living dead. The home.
Is that right?
The home of the Pittsburgh Zombies, George A. Romero. Well, to be technical, because a lot of people out there are going to be like, no, actually, it's in Evans City is where Night of the Living Dead was filmed. But I only live about 10, 15 minutes, if that, from Monroeville Mall, which was where Dawn of the Dead was filmed.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, I mean, Monroeville Mall was even my stomping grounds as like a teenager. Like I would go there, and hang out at the mall. They had the arcade back then. I was part of that last, you probably too, but part of that last, era of arcades being at malls, smoking section. Not that I smoked, but all the cool kids were there. But like you had the arcade. It was just cool, man. It was like you go to the mall and have fun, now it's like just, I don't know. I will say though, the revival of having the Living Dead weekend, which is what we had there every year. Dawn of the Dead reunion this year, and always people from Night of the Living Dead are there. Having that at the mall is another reason. It's like I'm going back to the mall again, and it's just really cool. Like the people, the horror community has always been about just having fun and just hanging out with good people and talking the shit, talking about the movies we love. And I always have fun there, man. I was a vendor there for the past every year consecutively up until this year, because it's all about Batshit Baby, my first feature film. So I've been trying to, I should be promoting it there, but I'm just going to be on foot, just hanging out as a fan. Sometimes you get burned out being a vendor at these conventions. So I just felt like, all right, I'm going to take a little break and just go as the fanboy, which is always been how it's always been. Yeah.
And sometimes that's what it's all about, right? Just that's what brought you to the dance anyway. And well, that explains a lot, man. I was going to say, I know you got a lot to talk about, but the history there that you just gave us, that explains a lot because you are in the horror world, right? I thought, hey, pencil.
I can't, like, for me, I've always been into the dark side of things, like the unknown. And I've always gravitated towards horror movies because I look at them, I tell everybody this. For me, they're survivalist movies where it's about you're facing your worst nightmares. And in real life, everyone deals with that. They deal with facing against your nightmares, your inner demons, whatever the hell you want to call them, man. Everybody's dealt with them, from like having ill parents to whatever, man, like bills, anything in life, man, like natural disaster. I mean, come on, I can go all day about that. But the point is, like, with the horror movies, though, it's an escape. You escape from reality for however long, an hour or two. And for me, what I always loved about it is, like, I'll go back to the survival thing. What I mean by that is you always have like the final girls in these slashers, and you have people that fight back. Of course, most of the time, a lot of them die, but that's part of life. And that, but at the same time, it's like, it makes you stronger because you face your fear. You're going on a roller coaster ride, right? Whenever you go up that hill and you're coming up around the bend, what's about to come. You're like, your nerves are getting, everyone, come on. Like it's the unknown, you're anticipating what's on the other side, and it's a thrill ride. So for me, horror films, not just always about the gore. I love the gore, the blood splatter, monsters and slashers. Oh my. But I also love just the survival side of it, that, hey, wait a minute, I can fight back. I can be like a badass, like Ash. I can be like Gizmo. You know what I mean? Like it's like, it's a lot of people miss that. They don't think about that side of horror films, and they only think about, oh, the monster, the killer, he's killing everybody.
Right.
Well, there's the flip side of that. There's always going to be good versus evil, or evil versus evil.
Mm-hmm. Now, it seems like it's a pretty specific genre, but there's a lot of different like subgenres of that, right? Because you mentioned like slasher films. You mentioned Gizmo in there, right?
Hell yeah. I created. Okay, so I started real quick. I'll just say I did a YouTube channel. We did it was called the Horror Avengers. It's something I came up with in my sick head, where basically we take our favorite horror Avengers. So think about the Marvel Avengers, right? It's creating our own team of Avengers, but they're within the horror world. So you got Ash from Evil Dead, Gizmo from Gremlins. Mm-hmm. You could just keep going. I mean, like Carrie. Who else do we had? So many. The Lost Boys, like the Frog Brothers. And what we did was we had them versus each other. And I mean, we didn't like go all out. We didn't do like a actual, video of them fighting or anything. We just shoot the shit and talk about what we each think, me and my co-host thought, how the fight would go down, like who would win. And like, then we asked the audience, we would do a poll. And we only did this for we did one season of it, about 12 episodes, or 10 episodes rather. But it was fun, man. We tried to pick some like really good ones, like Face Off, like Ash versus Pinhead from Hellraiser, mm-hmm. Leprechaun versus Chucky, stuff like that. So like, it was just fun, just like, basically coming up with these scenarios of how they would fight and who would be victorious at the end of it. But yeah, you're right. There's so many subgenres now, and there's so many and the thing is, like, there's so many ways that you can write a story. So for me, like, I've always been the creative writer, going back to I'm into the dark side of things already. Growing up watching these horror movies, I was desensitized at a young age. Like, I don't know how old I was, probably like, I wouldn't say 11 or 12. And like my cousins would show me like Freddy Krueger, The Exorcist, stuff. Like, for me at that young age, I was just like, whoa, like, I'm scared. I'm going like that. But at the same time, I'm also, intrigued by it. It goes back to the roller coaster. That's why I always bring up that analogy. But like, just that thing of like, you're scared of it, but you're also curious. You want to know, what is that monster? Who is Freddy Krueger? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you want to know more about it. Can he be stopped? Can we fight him? Can we kill him? Mm-hmm. And to me, that was always fascinating, is not about so much like giving up and being paralyzed in fear. Like, no, it's about facing your fears, and also doesn't hurt to see some blood splatter. Like, that's fun too. But yeah, I could go all night, about this, but it's just like, it's something I've always been fascinated by. I mean, it took me a while to really get obsessed with horror. Like, I wouldn't probably say I was truly obsessed until I was like in high school, like junior high. I was like, that's when things started getting real. I was like starting to write these little short stories, like horror movie short stories. Because I couldn't do music. I wrote, like, I would write, play acoustic guitar, write songs. That just never went anywhere, man. So I just was like, wait a minute, I could still write. So, and I see my friends making these short films. So I just got involved. And from there, it just took off. I made my first short film in 2015. It's 8-Bit Bloodbath. It's basically a tribute to Friday the 13th and retro gaming.
Very
so
cool,
if
man.
You like that, yeah. So like, that's kind of where it all started, and then it took off. I just kept doing short film after short film, and all my stuff is on the YouTube channel, Just Buried Entertainment. If you guys want to check it out, so you can watch it on there, and like we're having fun, man. Like, it's all independent. I've been out of the pocket. We film all around Pittsburgh, like we did with Batshit. my first feature was like basically like I took everything I love and put it in a blender. Put that on high.
For sure. Now, I think from what I've seen, it seems like these type of horror movies, they always have like that staying power, right? And so you have like the iconic characters, like Jason, Mike Myers, Freddy Krueger, and even like Scream too, and so these movies still do well. I think there was a period where there was just too many, and you would get like the cheap, low budget, straight to video. Leprechaun in the Hood, or I don't know. I think there was one where Jason's in space or something like that, right? And those, I mean, just my opinion, were garbage, right? But now you bring them back, and people, are watching, just like it was brand new, just like the first time you've ever seen it. Huh.
I'm kind of like, my thing on it is like I'm such a huge like horror fan. For me, I love Freddy Krueger. I love Jason. Like I even love the bad sequels. Like, I love all of them, man. Like the only thing I don't get into are like reboots, and like for the most part, like I did like the Evil Dead. I somewhat liked the new Evil Dead, but Evil Dead Rise. But the one before that was the one I liked more, because even though it was just like going back to the cabin, it was like a different director, but he made it his own thing, but still stayed true to the roots of Evil Dead. Excuse me. So basically, it's just like, I'm not all about, I never was big into, I know we're not even talking about reboots, like you said, sequels, but for me, like I'd rather watch a continuation story, like a sequel, than a reboot, because I've already seen that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't need to see your interpretation of it, because that's not the original story. You're changing it to make it your own vision. So, and I mean, I'm not saying that I loved Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead, 1991. That one was badass. I love that. I love, The Thing. Carpenter's The Thing was a remake. So like, there's certain things like movies that reboots, remakes I do like, but I'm just real picky about these new ones. And like it's just, everybody has their own tastes. Like I can't like say, not everybody likes Freddy Krueger. I like Freddy Krueger. Some people just like Jason. Some people just like Michael, I'm the kind of guy that it's like with music, I know what I like. And with movies and horror genre, I know what I like. And, I love the old school 80s, like slashers, the most, because I grew up on them. And I like the fact that you can take a character like Jason, like he's the OG for me, like at the top, because he's just a monster maniac. He's a zombie, man. He's unstoppable. Like I want to create a slasher like that. I've been working on it for a long time, 10 years. So like once Batshit's done, I mean, I'm doing a monster movie next, but then I'm going to do that slasher. It's like, it's hard to pick, because like it's your babies, you know what I mean? Like which one do you want to do next? But hey, I look at it this way, man. With those slashers, like you said, I know the sequels get silly, they get corny, but if you have a great origin story, that's why they did so good. Like when they first came out, like Friday the 13th, Camp Crystal Lake, boy gets murdered, gets drowned into the Crystal Lake. Then you got like the mom, spoiler alert, but yeah, it's just like a great origin. Like if you have a great origin story, same with Nightmare, Elm Street, great origin story. Like, I mean, if you have that great origin story with a strong killer that also has longevity, the story can keep going with this character. I believe that anyone could make an original slasher. You just need that formula, because it's there, man. I know I have two ideas. It's just, I don't know. You look at Art the Clown, Terrifier. He was I love that, and he's an independent guy like me. His edge was he was a makeup artist. That's what I should have did. I have Douglas a makeup school right here in my hometown, Savini, and I just never was personally into doing makeup. Although I love watching them do it, like creating monsters and gore, and like I just never got into it. I was more of like a writer, creative mind, like that way. I'm not saying I couldn't do it, but it's just I don't know. I guess you kind of go. Everyone has their own things, they go.
Yeah, you got to put all
down
the
the path.
pieces together. Yeah, so you need
Right, right.
all the
But
different
dude,
players.
I just met him and the actor who played Art like at a convention a couple months back, and they're like so humble, so like down to earth, cool dudes. Like we talked, we're laughing, just cracking jokes, like cool guys. And just the fact that they're like so excited to see me and hang out with their fans, and like that's how I want to be. That's how I always will be, because I'm always going to be the fanboy. Like I love to just bullshit and talk about these movies we love, and you can't be on your high horse. It's like we all start from somewhere.
Right.
Like I know, like with me, it's like this is what I'm passionate about. I've always loved to write, and I just happen to go towards that the dark side, like the horror films. And
there is just something very like captivating about it, right? So like even for younger kids, sometimes when I was a kid, I don't know why, I guess it's a horror movie, and I really was drawn to the Puppet Master movies.
Yes. Yes. I met. Oh, dude.
I mentioned those, so a lot of people are like, "What's that?" I'm like, there were these cool ass little puppets that
How
just
do you
went
not
around.
know Puppet Master?
Yeah.
Charles Band. I met Charles Band. Check this out. Okay, so my first horror convention, the big one, was called Cinema Wasteland. That's where I popped my horror convention cherry. And I met, ready for it, Charles Band, Lloyd Kaufman, Tom Atkins, Night of the Creeps. The lineup was insane for me for a first time convention. Like, oh my God, you had Tom Sullivan. He did all the stuff for Evil Dead, like the makeup, or the props rather, not the makeup. That was Greg. But man, it was loaded, man. It was just like a fun. We were all having a good time drinking back then. That was a different time, but I was having fun drinking and just meeting these say icons, but just heroes of horror, people that I've been watching their movies. Yeah, like you were talking about Puppet Master. Oh man, where to start with Puppet Master? When I saw that first one, man, that freaked me out. I never wanted to be around dolls or puppets ever again. I was like, whoa, like who would have thought puppets would be scary, man? Whoa.
I mean, they just had such a cool look, right? You had like one with the drill on its damn head,
Yes. Yep. Blade was always my favorite, but I like the later ones. Like, Tunneler, I think was one of the main ones. I'm trying to think who were the later ones. They had, there was the six shooter. He was so cool. Like him, like I even like the later, the newer sequels, because they fight the Nazis. And there's a part where six shooter comes out wearing all black, and he's like got that, that same, grimace, like that Jekyll. He's just like, he's ready to just like kill everyone, kill all the Nazis. But yeah, I know, I love Puppet Master. I grew up watching all that stuff, like Trauma, Toxic Avenger, man. Like I could go all over the place, man. Like Japanese, like a lot of weird Japanese stuff I got into. The Tokyo Gore stuff. But yeah, all that independent like stuff is what really got me into like wanting to make movies, honestly. Like, I mean, I grew up watching everything, but I also was like, wow, man, you could make a movie with no budget and have fun. And there's a niche. People love that stuff. I'm always trying to take my movies and what I do to the next level. So I bought like a new camera, and it's just one of those things where I'm learning how to do it, trying to do it in DIY, like do it everything myself. But at the same time, it's like I still need help. Like you're always gonna need, like, you look at I was talking to my buddy about this, like look at the credits in any movie, like look at how many people are involved in the credits. That's why and I'm thinking like, oh, we're just a bunch of jabronis, like 5 people like trying to do this by ourselves. But at the same time, it's like, hey, we get it done. We do it. It's just like, but you need that army, that little army of people that can help you, really, because it's like, it makes all the difference, when you only have a small crew like that. But
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that for Batshit. It was like just,
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to get into that real quick. So,
yeah,
this is your first feature, right?
Yep.
It's your first feature. And so what did that whole process entail, right? And if you had to give us like the first of all, if you had to give us like the back of the video, summary of what the film's about, what is it about?
All right, so here's like a little short synopsis of Batshit. It's about the main character. His name's Felix Darby, and he's pretty much just a lost soul. Like he lost his job. He's became an alcoholic. He's not doing good. His relationship is on the rocks. And one night he goes out drinking again, and he ends up in a car crash, and he's in this nightmare world where he's fighting off against all of his inner demons, all of the monsters, things like stuff too from his past, like his coach from like high school is like a Freddy Krueger and just messing with him. Basically, it's got elements of Nightmare on Elm Street. Evil Dead's another huge inspiration for this film. And basically anything goes. That's why I wanted to do that. He's stuck in this nightmare world. So anything goes. And I have things, the amount, we have the most amount, I believe, like of I won't say any movie because there's a lot of movies out there, but we're at the top as far as like the different types of animation. We have, ready?
Yeah.
All right. We've got 8-bit animation, 2D animation, 3D animation, claymation, stop motion, puppet. We don't have animatronics because we didn't have the extra money for that, but we do have puppetry. We have, like I said, regular animation. The other main character is Dev. He's an animated bat who has like he has no filter. He's like Deadpool. And basically, like I was saying, like anything goes in this movie, man. Like this character is going through a vortex of just like, what's next? What do I have to deal with now? Like, I don't want to give away too much, but that's basically the breakdown of it. And he's just trying to find his way out of this. And then along the way, there's a side story in reality with a detective. It's like a detective noir side story where a detective is hunting down a killer that's on the loose in my town that I call Rosalind in all my stories. So there's a murderer, the Rosalind Butcher, and the detective's trying to hunt down this butcher. And meanwhile, you're going back and forth between Felix's zany nightmare to that. So it's got a lot going on there. It kind of has the perfect balance of there's serious moments, but then it's always going back to the madness. Think like you're in a carnival nightmare. Okay. And you're on a wild ride. I always must love amusement parks. I'm going back to the roller coaster thing, but he's literally on a roller coaster ride, going through hell, and but he's going to fight back. It's like we were talking about earlier. He's going to eventually manifest or transform, however you want to say it, into my type of like Ash character, and with his sidekick, who's sometimes he just wants to kill, but basically, yeah, it's a fun ride. If you guys like Beetlejuice, like I said earlier, Evil Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street, I could go all day. It's got like everything I love. I just put it in a blender.
Very cool. Yeah, so it's got a lot of fun in there. Now, what as far as like release or anything like that where people can watch, right? Has it been released at all anywhere yet? Or are you in the process of doing that?
And then how are
you going about like promoting and things like that too?
Yeah. So basically, because this project is like, people have called it an odyssey because it is. We've been working on this since 2018, and people don't realize, like, the thing is when you're doing a low budget film and you don't have the money, and there's also the many factors, things that we had setbacks. We had things that I won't get all into, but things happen for a reason, I believe. And now we're like, to skip all the drama and the BS, we're the phoenix rising from the ashes, the bat rising from, you know what I mean? Like I'm back working with my old editor, the original guy I worked with, and we came together and just made a way better cut. We trimmed it down to a modest, like it's under 2 hours now. It used to be longer. And it's like, where do I start? Basically, yeah, that's the in a nutshell. We're right now where we need to be, where we're in post still, but it's so close to being done. We see the finish line. It's at the point where we're shaping it together to make it as great as we can, be. So we come this far. Why at the last, end of it, make it mediocre? Let's make it as awesome as we can make it. So we went back and we added some really awesome things, like the claymation. We added another claymation thing. We added some, I don't want to get all into it, but there's a Godzilla type scene where we do some stop motion. Nice. Yeah. So we added some really cool stuff, and basically we're shooting for October. I'm not going to say that. I don't ever like saying a date. Like, I don't know. That's still up in the air, I would just say, like, we definitely want to get it done this year. We want to have a premiere this year. I'll just say that instead of saying October. But yeah, we're very close to getting it done. It's in the final phases. We need to get that final cut we're happy with, add the music, and the rest is history. But yeah, we're excited. I definitely want to premiere this and even go outside of Pittsburgh with it. I know a festival in Staten Island that I went to. There's always Ohio, New York. I mean, it'd be cool to take it everywhere, wherever I can. Whoever will select it
to LA. Get some ribs from me out here, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I already have. Hey, look, I'm on Film Freeway. I already have my bucket list, my watch list, and about 5 of them are all from California. So like, I'm definitely going to be submitting as whatever I can afford, because these festivals can be pricey. But trying to narrow it down to like the top like 10 to 15 like best independent film festivals, because I know where our movie where it should be, like, as far as where to submit. We're not going to submit it to like these like big festivals, like, because I know they're looking for like groundbreaking. Like, I mean, our movie is, in a way, it is groundbreaking. It's original. There's nothing like it out there that's being done right now. It's very original. That's what's missing in Hollywood. But the thing is, it's so low budget that, I'm not discrediting it in that way. It has its own place. Like, there's a lot of films that made it that were low budget, like Nightmare on Elm Street, Evil Dead. I mean, it's just, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, you put so much work into something, you're so passionate about it, and you make it as fun as possible. I'm here to entertain people. So, not everybody's going to like it, but at the end of the day, we're happy with it. And that's all that matters. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, like, yeah. And as far as like getting it out there, I would love that. I'm definitely going to get it on as many streaming services as we can get it on. And I always will be a collector. So I'll put it out on physical media, DVDs, Blu-ray, Tubi. I'll definitely get it on Tubi, right? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Amazon. I mean, I'm looking at it like the sky, or, sky's the limit, and like, and screw the sky. Let's pull Elon Musk and go like everywhere, like, let's go through some like black holes and shit. Why not? I mean, like, that's bad shit, man. Like, there was nothing when people were asking me, why are you doing this? I'm like, why are you asking me that? It's my story. Like, let's break every type of, fourth wall and like boundary and dimension we can with it and make it as crazy. It's called batshit for a reason. I mean, so yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We're aiming for this year for a release later this year, and it'll, like, if you guys are interested in like that kind of stuff, like, it's a dark comedy fantasy. And like I said, it's got all those elements I mentioned earlier: Evil Dead, Nightmare, Beetlejuice. I love Tim Burton. It's even got some Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure in there. It's got everything, man. Like, honestly, like, if you love movies like that where it's like you're just going on this crazy roller coaster ride, this is your movie. Like it's a fun house, and great movie by the way, Fun House. But it's just it's a fun house, and you're gonna have fun. And go on. I was gonna say go on Just Buried Entertainment's Facebook, and we're also on Instagram, Just Buried Entertainment, and what I post all the latest news. We even have a website now, justburiederentertainment.com, where you can even buy the Batshit t-shirt and some of my
let me see that t-shirt real quick, man. I know they're not going to be able to see it, but
absolutely,
that's pretty cool, man. You got like a bat with the crazy eyes there, bat on one wing, shit on the other. Very, it's black and white, but it's colorful too. So
the story behind behind this logo, I know the guys at home can't see it, but the artist, his name is he goes by Nicholas Caesar, and he's amazing. I saw stuff on Facebook, and I just said, hey, I'm just gonna shoot him a PM. I messaged him, and he does all the main illustration for all the animated characters. We have another animator, a guy who did all the animation, and we have so much going on in this movie. It's nuts. I was like, Nick, in a way, he definitely was the person who he would draw all these different illustrations, and they became part of the promotional stuff that I was using. You were talking about promoting and basically spreading the word of Batshit. I got like a little mini street team. So I have friends that are all around the country. Like I have friends, like a couple friends that live in Texas, even a couple friends in California. And just people, I just said, hey, I can't make the Monsterpalooza. Could you, if I mailed you some Batshit postcards to hand out at the convention? So it's like, I just do whatever I can to spread the word of Batshit. And I mean, it's been going strong. I mean, I've been spreading the word as much as I can since it's been out. I mean, since we've been working on it. And I just look at it like no matter what happens with Batshit and this movie, I'm going to keep going forward and doing my thing. I mean, I've heard people say this has cult, I've heard that word thrown around. It has a cult status, like type, thing. And to me, hearing somebody say that is all I need to hear. I'm just like that. You saying that to me, brother, that you just made my day. Like I know that I'm doing something. And also just going to, the first time I went to a film festival that I took in one of my short films, it's called Sponge. It's like killer sponge monsters from another world, and they suck your blood and kill you. But anyways, I took it there, and part of the narration, the guy's always saying sponge over and over, sponge. And what I got out of that was the applause. Obviously, people happy to entertain, and when we're leaving the theater, even people were screaming sponge, like, and I'm just like, that's when I was like, I was patting myself on the shoulder and my friends, that I was there with, I was like, man, this is what it's all about right here, man. We just entertain a whole audience, give or take, it was probably only 50 people, but I don't care. That to me was like why I'm doing this. Cause I want to make fun movies, whether it's a monster movie, a slasher. This Batshit, I wanted to initially be more Evil Dead, the first one, serious, like horror elements, but mixed with a little bit of slapstick here and there. But it turned more into like Army of Darkness. You know what I mean? It went more. We went more that route, which is okay. Like I'm not saying it's a bad thing because I love Army of Darkness too, but it's just one of those things where things happen that way sometimes. You don't even realize it, and it's because we're having fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can. It was my first feature film, and just like every movie before that, we always had fun on set, and that's how it should be. You have fun, you make the movie that you want to make at the end of the day, and you hopefully a few people laugh, cry, and maybe something else.
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the whole, that if I were to tell you in a nutshell, like what my what would you call that? Objective. My objective.
Your why. Yeah, your why, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I want to do. I want to make you guys, have some shits and giggles for about 2 hours, and also take you on a ride, take you on a little crazy ride, a carpet ride, magic carpet ride. And that's hopefully what I achieve with that shit. But I will say, since I saw, I keep talking about Terrifier, but I saw Terrifier. My next movie is going to be like going back to my roots, my bloody roots. I'm going hardcore, like blood and guts monster movie. Right. And that's all I'll say. I'm not going any further into detail, because then I'll just be like going on a tangent and you'll be like, all right, we heard enough, Todd. but yeah.
I'm going to do some quick rapid fire questions here. See right what your response is. And the first one, I think you mentioned earlier, but I want to hear, and it's probably gonna be hard for you to pick, right? But favorite horror character ever?
Wow. Whoa. I'm gonna go right to Ash Williams from Evil Dead, because what Sam Raimi did for the horror goes back to what I said earlier. What he did for the horror what do you want to call it? Just the universe. Yeah, the horror universe. What he did for that universe is he finally, like, we have a hero, and like, not just like, you've had heroes before him. Yes, I know, but not this way. Not where it's like the joke, cracks the joke. It's kind of like he's, in a way, he's the Marvel characters of Spider-Man and Deadpool. Yeah. And I was thinking about this the other day. What's just like what Stan Lee's another huge inspiration is that what he did was he took like Wolverine, like these characters were, that these guys were the everyday average Joe, but they got this power or this, for Ash, he just, his arm, we know the story. He lost his arm. The Deadites got his arm, but he got a chainsaw, and that became his weapon, and he's also, got his boomstick. Can't forget, it's my boomstick, and he cracks the one-liners, groovy, I mean, it's just the everyday average Joe that also, is just gonna like, crack some jokes and say some little funny one-liners. And I mean, I could go all day about Evil Dead and that, what about it, but yeah, to answer your question, I'd say Ash Williams is my go-to.
Okay, cool. All right, so this might be kind of tough, right? But real quick, a rapid fire here, if you could think of it. Most underrated horror character or film, and most overrated. Underrated and overrated.
Oh boy, if I just break it down to slasher, I'll just do that. Okay. Chrome Skull. I'm going to say Chrome Skull because Laid to Rest is the movie. Chrome Skull, what was so unique about him is that his face was all messed up. Just like, I knew that's not unique, but what he did was he took this, Chrome Skull mask and he put it over his face, and it like glues onto his face. Like he could take it back off. I don't think they ever show his face, but what also is unique about this character is he has a camera, a little GoPro or something like on his shoulder at all times. He takes his victims, which are mostly, they could be anybody, but they're mostly girls, and he throws them into a casket, a coffin, and he has a bunch of like coffins, and like, it's just, he's savage. He's brutal like Jason, and he has this like big blade. If you guys like, Friday the 13th and, horror movies in general, like slashers, check out Laid to Rest. There was only 2 of them. I was hoping he would do a third one. I can't think of the guy's and the director's name, but man, what a badass. I'd say like that's underrated.
And this is tough, overrated, man. I know it's like all
that's tough. That's tough.
Or like sometimes maybe you're having like a discussion when people are like, I love this, when you're like, it's okay, but it's not all that. I
kind of want to go into the Possession, like Exorcist movies, because I think a lot of them are overrated.
Okay.
I couldn't give you like, I did like the Conjuring movies. It's hard to say what's overrated, and I don't want to like put anybody on the spot.
Personal
I think
taste,
like,
yeah,
because exactly, dude. It always goes back to personal taste. I don't. For me, like I mean, I'll just go right to like the Possession stuff, and I don't mean like the original Exorcist will always be my favorite. And I just watched Amityville. I've been watching the Amityville movies. The first two movies are my favorite. Two gets really hardcore. But yeah, I just think like these new it's overdone, and they're killing it, man. It's like we've seen it enough. It's like if you're gonna do it, put a twist on it, and include add warlocks.
yeah. How about
you know
this?
What I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like I mean, do something different. Like that's kind of where I'm at with it, because besides movies, I finally did my first comic book, and it's about warlocks and demons. And like, I think it's one of those things where like people don't really dive into that. Like they don't, there has been movies, like there was the early 90s warlock movies, but
I remember those, man. They were kind of weird. Yeah.
I love them, man. I can't think of the actor's name right now, but he just did a great job at playing an evil wizard, an evil, and also like I could talk about Phantasm, like the Tall Man. He's another, like, I guess you'd call him a necromancer, like a wizard, dark, a warlock, So like I like those characters because like they're just pure evil, and they have like black magic abilities. And who's to say you can't create a good warlock?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And be that anti-hero, that nerd, that freak who dabbles in that black magic and starts fighting back, as long as he doesn't become evil, completely evil with it. Because I was reading on it, like you can start, if you start summoning, like it's like goalies. I don't know if you've seen goalies or remember goalies, but goalies were those little monsters that basically the warlocks, these evil wizard, they summon these goalie monsters. And the series got real goofy. It was like, if you like Puppet Master, you'll like, it's the same production company, Charles Band. Yeah, it was called something else at the time, but it's Charles Band, his stuff. But yeah, it was one of his first movies, I think. Like, not his first, but it's an early one. But yeah, why I guess I brought that up is because it deals with that stuff. And you don't see a lot of it done. Like, it's always the same stuff. You'll see a possession, like it always goes to the priest, and some little girl is possessed by the devil or a demon. So I think why not flip everyone on their head and say some warlock comes out of a vortex, a dimension, and he's just, they're like, what the hell are you doing here? And he's like, some Terminator shit. He's like, I'm here to save your ass. Let's go. And he grabs you, throws you in the vortex. Why not? Because like you don't see that stuff much in these genres.
I was just looking up the Ghoulies because I'm like, damn, there's so many horror fills out there.
Yes.
The things that come out of the toilets. I remember seeing that in the in the video store.
In the end. Yeah. But revisit them, man. They're fun. I'd say only watch the third one's just fun, dumb. They're in Ghoulies Go to College. That's where it gets real goofy. But,
see, that's like we're talking about Leprechaun in the Hood and things like that, right?
My thing is like, I know what you mean. Like they get so dumb, but I'm one of those people, like I'll watch it for the pure entertainment factor of it, like the shits and giggles. I'm like, I know this is bad, but I'm gonna watch it anyways. Like, but yeah, man, that'd be something I would get into, involving like those ghoulies and warlocks.
For sure. Another quick rapid fire question here, right? There's this concept of scream queens, right? The women in the horror films that are like they're known for that. They're known for being like, right?
Absolutely. I love them.
Who's one of your favorite scream queens?
My favorite scream queen. It's weird. Like I don't know if I just have one, but like if I were to say one, I'd say
Name three then. Like whatever.
Because I do have a few. I will say to start with, definitely the why am I drawing a blank on her name? Give me a second. The girl from Halloween, Jamie Lee
Jamie Lee
Curtis.
Curtis, yeah.
I've always loved her as a scream queen. She was really great in The Fog and Halloween and Terror Train. But as far as like another one, I would say is Linnea Quigley. I don't know if I know it's weird because like I don't know how do you put that title on. I just know her as a great B film actress. That I've seen in a lot of great movies, but she was a scream queen.
Okay.
And Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd say those are probably my top at the top. I mean, I was trying to think of Friday the 13th, and there's never really there's a scream guy named Tommy Jarvis. I mean, I don't know if you like. I guess the first the first two Friday the 13th did have final girls. So you can include them. I can't think of their names right now, but yeah, I'd say those would be a couple of my favorite scream queens, for sure.
Now, besides Batshit, because we're looking forward to that, right? What is like a horror movie or a horror series or anything horror that you're looking forward to coming out, really soon?
Wow. Terrifier 3. I don't know when that comes out, but geez, I'm trying to. You got me on the spot. I'm trying to think of some new stuff that I was looking forward to. I've kind of seen a couple of new things. I was waiting for that new Evil Dead. I just watched that, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff. As far as in the horror realm, I can't. I'm drawing a blank right now on what's coming. I'm sure there's stuff that I know about. I'm just drawing a blank right now. But I mean, I do like some like of the new directors stuff that I've seen. I can't think of the director's name right now. It's like on the tip of my tongue. But he did a movie called Bloody Santa Bloody Santa. It just came out during Christmas. And he also did, before that, he did like a really trippy movie about like this girl who, I'll be giving away the plot, but it's called Bliss. This girl basically transforms into a monster. And I liked that new director. He's can't think of his name, sorry. But check out Bliss, and VFW was another one of his movies. Man, I could go over the place. Like new stuff that's coming out, you'll laugh, but I want to see that movie, The Machine. It just came out. The comedian. It's a story about this guy. It's his story. Like I'm worst at this, man. I just watched his podcast, Two Bears, One Cave. We were just talking about him. I can't think of Bert. That's his name, Bert. Can't think of his last name right now, but yeah, this guy. I saw his stand up, but his story, his dad is played by Mark Hamill. Oh, wow. And the story is just batshit crazy. Like the stuff that happens. He goes to Russia. He's drunk on a train. They call him the Machine. It's a crazy fun time. But I heard he did the stand up. So he told the story about it. So you can watch the stand up of it on YouTube or Netflix or wherever. But as far as back to horror stuff, I think some of the movies that already came out that I've been waiting for, The Evil Dead. I did go for shits and giggles. I saw the new Scream, even though that's not really my favorite.
Yeah.
For me personally, Scream's at the bottom, but that's just me personally.
That would have been the overrated for me, but yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I hate to say that, but I would say Scream is definitely overrated. Even though I do like the first one, when it first came out, I think Wes Craven had a good, I won't even call it comeback because, man, he's the man. Wes Craven, is awesome. But for him to do that, is a perfect time in the early 90s with the phone calls. And I think it was a cool concept, but I think the sequels just, it kept getting
more ridiculous and
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you there. Scream series did get overrated. Man, I'm trying to think of some other stuff. I know, like, a lot of people are into Saw. I was sort of into it, but like, there's supposed to be a new Saw coming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That'd be mainstream stuff. Like, there's a lot of underground stuff too, but like I said, Terrifier 3, um, man, sucks because like when I always get brain farts, but like as soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
think
think
of all
about
this
it. You're
stuff.
gonna, yeah, that's
I'm gonna
fine,
be
man.
like,
Yeah,
man, there's this, there's that, but like,
yeah.
what's cool about that though is that even if like, maybe a horror franchise you're not that excited about drops a new movie, at least there's new horror films always something in the works coming, and that's awesome that that it's always it's still the horror films are still in the mainstream, that people still they want to see that, and that's why I'm here, man. I want to deliver. Hopefully, in the future, I'll have my own slasher franchise, and I'm gonna make some monster movies, and just basically you're gonna go. I want people to go to the theater and have fun, and like be like, oh, also be on the edge of your seat, and when we saw movies growing up, like go back to the Spielberg stuff, but like when you see Jaws come out for the first time, I want that reaction. I want you to be like, what, like what just happened? With any type of monster or character, you want your audience to go through that journey, that crazy, ride. So that's what I'm all about. And like, I'm always about checking out, you can't be so close-minded either. You never know what you'll like,
Expand those horizons. Yeah.
Oh, those escape room movies, by the way, they were like The Cube. Did you ever see The Cube?
No, man.
Oh, dude, watch the first Cube. I mean, the second one's all right, but the first one, there's basically about these people that don't know. It's like Saw. They don't know what happened to them, and they're trapped in this room. But there's a door that goes into another room, and each door is a death box, a way that it could kill you. So yeah, the Cube series, man, is badass. And then they did kind of like a revival of that. They did this thing called Escape Room. It's pretty much the same thing, where only this time it's an escape room, and you have to, figure out the clues in time. And you got a timer. If you don't figure out the clue in time, that room is going to turn into some kind of death trap. So it's another, I like those kind of movies too.
And there's never an end to the content there, man. So that's the cool thing.
That's the cool thing about that, is it could just if you have a creative mind, you just keep going with it. Like, why not just keep pushing the envelope?
Yeah. Now, real quick before we end here, I just want to make sure again we get where people can find you and all that. So you mentioned earlier, Just Buried Entertainment on Instagram and Facebook. Any other social media?
YouTube. Always go on our YouTube channel. You can find the Batshit trailers on there. All of my early short films are on there, and like I said, there's the website justburiedertainment.com. We're on Instagram. Not on like TikTok or anything, but yeah, those are the main ones. Facebook, you can find us on there, Just Buried Entertainment. Batshit has its own Facebook page too. So if you ever want updates on Batshit as well, just go to Batshit on Facebook. YouTube is a big one, like I said already. Those are the main ones, and I'm always out there at conventions. So if you happen to be, I post when I go to conventions. I'm going to be at the next one, like I was saying. Well, I don't think we talked about it on
offline
on here, but I'm going to be at Horror Hotel. That's in Strongsville, or I forget where it's at, somewhere in Ohio, and and that's my short film, The Jiggles, was selected. So we're going to that one, and then the very next day, because we're a bunch of crazy kids, we're going to go back to my hometown, Pittsburgh, here to Living Dead weekend, which is going to be the Dawn of the Dead reunion. So that'll be fun. So if anybody out there, if you hear it in time, I don't know when you're going to post this, but
next Sunday at the time of recording.
Next Sunday. All right. Yeah. So, all right. You'll probably miss it because it's next weekend, but it's all right. No worries. I'm always after that. I mean, like I will definitely be promoting the heck out of that shit. So you guys will always see something in the next couple months. I'm going to be keeping everybody, and no, I don't want to, shove it down your throat, all that guano, but but that shit is coming, baby. The batshit crazy train. Woo! Get your ticket, man. It's coming.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, Todd, lots of fun, man. Definitely learned a lot about horror. I've been, not a huge fan, but I mean, I love, little, certain franchises and whatnot. So definitely glad to talk about it.
Don't be closed-minded about horror films. Don't. Yeah. I'm not saying you are, brother. I'm saying anybody out there, like, don't, because you never know. Like, you might find something in there that might fascinate you, you might intrigue you, and also just might give you a little scare. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, because like it also kind of like, it changes you as a person, and also you battle your fears, and it makes you think, like, kind of gets you excited because you're like, wait a minute, so clowns don't really bother me anymore because they did when I was younger. So now I'm gonna watch Terrifier. But yeah, so just think of it that way.
Well, again, thank you very much, Todd. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Oh yeah, man. Good luck with everything. And thanks, for everybody listening at home, I appreciate you. Thank you. Fuck you and good night.
Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast, and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.